All right, so I'm going to be doing another comic review, another book sent to me by my friend Chris. Thank you as always, brother. Today we're going to be talking about Justice League Unlimited World's Finest, We Are Yesterday. This is the first big event of the DC All In era. This is basically the kickoff point and the official start to DCKO, you know, with all the insane stuff going on right now. I was really excited to read this. I was really excited. You know, it's a really cool concept, and I've really enjoyed Justice League Unlimited, and the world's finest comics have been always fun. And it's a pretty self-contained event. That's the other thing I like about this, is that you really only need to read two titles, and they're both from the same writer, Mark Waid. World's Finest, Justice League Unlimited. This isn't like a, you know, go read this tie-in or go read here. It's like, no. Mark Waid was just like, I'm already writing Justice League Unlimited, and I'm writing World's Finest. I'm just going to have the event be self-contained in what is essentially a big Justice League story. So we got to do some recap first. Basically, this is set after the events of Absolute Power. Some Justice League members lost their powers and are trying to get them back. One of whom was Martian Manhunter, who lost his powers, and someone else got them. Don't worry, we'll get to that in a second. But there was also a group called Inferno that was terrorizing the Justice League. And they had a member, Airwave, on the inside working for them. And it was revealed that this group, Inferno, was actually the Legion of Doom. But here's the thing. The Legion of Doom, it's kind of weird because they're like, at this point in this timeline, in the current timeline, Lex had been kind of redeemed around Superman, and some of the other members were like lost or, you know, incarcerated at the time. So who are these guys? Well, it turns out this is the Legion of Doom from the past. They went to the future to carry out their plans. And the leader of this, and the actual big villain of the story, is Gorilla Grodd. Yeah, Grodd is actually the big villain, the big overarching villain of the comic, which I think is really cool. I really do like the idea of Grodd being the big overarching villain. And he's actually the one who gained Martian Manhunter's powers. And keep in mind, Grodd is already psychically empowered. So now you've stacked his psychic abilities with that of J'onn J'onzz, and it's not a fun time for anyone. So the story is obviously a time travel comic, and World's Finest is just Superman and Batman and Robin in the past, nebulously in the past. So Grodd has basically made his own Legion of Doom, and Superman, Batman, and Robin are caught in the crossfire of this time travel story in which Grodd is trying to be a god. And on top of that, he's also like absorbing the psychic abilities and even the body of like his younger self so he can give himself an extra power boost. The comic is a lot of fun. That's what I have to give about. I've said it time and time again that Mark Waid clearly loves writing the DC universe more than Marvel. Not to say he doesn't hate Marvel, but it's very clear where he stands on these comics. Like what universe he really likes to really play, what kind of sandbox he really plays in. That's always been the thing with him. The major point is that the other major factor is that this is, like I said, very self-contained, even if it is a time travel story, but you don't have to read like this issue or that issue. Dan Mora does do a lot of the artwork for both books. I will say, though, that it does take a bit of a hit. The artwork, I mean. And not by Dan Mora himself. It's during the World's Finest Annual, where the artwork takes a massive dump because, yeah, just, like, look at this. Like, it's all angles, like, everything just feels off and sketchy. Now look at, like, Dan Mora's artwork real fast, just to showcase, you know. You see what I mean? There's a big difference here. The story is really cool of, like, using the idea of, like, time travel. Instead of villains going to the past to screw with stuff, the villains go to the future to deal with stuff. And I like the continuation of Airwave in here. Airwave was a superhero, but I have to think, like, he was really naive to really, like, join Grodd. That's the one thing that kind of, like, bothers me about the comic, is that, like, Airwave, I know you were lost in time and all that, but, like, the Justice League have so many files, you have to believe that, like, or, like, you've been around enough superheroes in that limited time to know Grodd's bad, right? And even, like, the story that Grodd gives him, like, oh, the Justice League's actually bad guys. I'm like, okay, Airwave is a friggin' idiot, apparently. But yeah. I also love the whole part of the story where the world's finest go to the future, and the world's finest of the present, which is Superman, Batman, and Nightwing, go to the past. And there's great stuff in there, like Lois, who's Superwoman at the time, is like, Clark, get your son and tell him to bring his boyfriend. We're going to go fight somebody. And Clark's like, what? This is past Clark. Well, in the past, the future version of those characters run into Alfred, who's still dead at the time. So there's a great emotional moment in there. Yeah. The comic also is big because, like, we basically bring a new meaning to Justice League Unlimited, because what happens is that Airwave goes throughout time to, like, bring all these different Justice League characters together, or, like, all these other DC characters throughout time together, like Jonah Hex, Batman Beyond, the Peter David version of Aquaman. It's just a huge thing. And it's so much fun. And how they end it is actually like, no, these characters are going to stay for a while. So you basically have all these different variants, and now the Justice League really is, like, unlimited. The one thing, though, I did realize is that it's sadly not Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond. It's Tim Drake Batman Beyond, which, don't get me wrong, I like more. I'm always down for more Tim stuff. But and there was a point in the Batman Beyond comics where Terry was believed to have died, and Tim took over, like an older version of Tim Drake. But come on, man. You're going to give us Batman Beyond. Give us Batman Beyond, Mark. Come on, man. That's all we really want. Like, actually give us Batman Beyond. And Jonah Hex is here and all that. All in all, again, it's also set up for DCKO, so it's pretty fun. But yeah, as acting as the first big event of the DC All-In era and building to DCKO, it's pretty fun. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed it. It's a fun event of time travel, and it's always cool to see Grodd, even though it's the Legion of the Legion of Doom. It is basically Grodd is the overarching villain. So I do appreciate that, like, that's where we're really going with this, is that Grodd is the big villain. And like I said in one of my shorts, Grodd's one of my favorite Flash villains, and also a villain I really like to see, show up no matter what. So I'm really excited. This really makes me excited for DCKO and the continuation of Unlimited and World's Finest. So yeah, I really dug this event. I highly recommend it, but I wouldn't say you wouldn't need to read a lot of World's Finest. Those are a lot of self-contained stories. You would need to read more at least the first volume of Justice League Unlimited. That's a little required reading. But anyway, if you've read We Are Yesterday, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. Chris, thank you as always for this comic. And yeah, other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.